Ki aloha is an ole kamayo. Kamakane na oe te lao okaniu. Ha'aka pua ko vale ike kula. Le haka maka oko mano ai pua leho. Hava u kiki uli I kana hele. Li ta io ka au hele mo ala he ala he ala he a. Ha ye le ye. Ha ye le. He inono ma kahikina. Bring in the light.
Oh, it's a good crowd. I'm David Bannon. I publish the Paradise Post newspaper and a friend of Pila's. And I just wanted to give you a little background about who he is. And I, like many of you, found a little red book many, many years ago when I was staying at a B&B, and I found it falling off the bookshelf. There was thousands of books, and this fell off the bookshelf, and I stayed up all night and read that, and it kind of changed my life. William Pila Childs is a psychotherapist, Essene master, ordained minister, and NLP trainer. In the early days of his Hawaii tenure, he performed weddings at the Hilton Waikoloa and other Gold Coast hotels, as well as funerals for executive destination management. In those early years, Pila developed and taught corporate seminars and spousal programs on Hawaiiana for Hawaii's destination management companies. He's hosted and keynote seminars worldwide, including the New York Whole Life Expos and New York, Toronto, and Washington, D.C.'s Learning Annex. Locally, and many don't know this, Pila is the only haole I know who has performed an official Hawaiian blessing for a state institution, which was the opening of the Kona Library. For the year of the Hawaiian, Pila was honored as a teacher of Hawaiiana on both inter-island cruise ships, the SS Independence, and Princess Grace's ship, the SS Constitution. Now the good part. Pila is an author of 4 books. And the one which stands out as the big shock, the big surprise, the genuine enigma to the publishing industry is the little red book, Secrets and Mysteries of Hawaii, A Call to the Soul. After over 13 years of that book having a 5-star Amazon and Barnes Noble rating, it's now in 8 countries. There was never an endorsement. There was never book reviews or formal recommendations whatsoever. I think these books just kept flying off bookshelves. In other words, it's spread around the whole world and just by word of mouth. And I think the last translation was into German. And in 2004, something very good happened. The book was inducted into the International Theosophical Society Research Archive, along with the new interpretation of the Dead Sea Scrolls at that time. Now, Pila's largest work, the Godlink series, tells of his journey from a near-death experience in the combat jungles of Vietnam that earned him the Purple Heart. And I think many of us have read that and were moved by that story in his book. But then he ended up in Camp Pendleton U.S. Naval Hospital mental ward that earned him a straitjacket.
You can't leave now, we're locking the doors.
And now he's got a book endorsement with a foreword from the chief psychiatrist, New York Veterans Administration. And finally back home to humanity's metaphorical garden and sanctuary, Hawaii. The guys travel all over the world. He's a compassionate soul. He's literally got a following. I mean, this is a great group here, but I can't imagine how many thousands or tens of thousands of people his life has touched. So Pila, known for his psychic insights, has given over 11,000 Akashic readings through the years of his own journey, including 80 to 85 delegates and employees of the United Nations. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Pila, or as some of you know him, the Pied Piper of Paradise.
Thank you for coming. And with that wonderful intro line, watch, we did fill up, didn't we? This little session's for you. I actually came to the island back home from Europe, and in Austria for 4 years. and teaching with the United Nations there, and doing some accounting work, consulting work with CompuWare and some of the big computer firms on sales. And came back to try to put together our project that you may have seen on the website, mysticalhawaii.com. We've been trying to do a, here goes that word again, spiritual healing village, and New Thought University here for the dream's been around for 40 years. 20 years ago, people from all over the planet, visionaries like you, started showing up one by one. 9 of them actually with the same blueprints of strange buildings for the center. And so the last ditch effort for this, when the keynote address talk came up, and Sharman, my old friend, asked me if I'd do it, was to try to create a partnership, a joint venture with Charles Schwab's Palamanui project out here just north of the airport. It's almost identical to the vision I had in Vietnam, except for the infrastructure of the Eco Village part. We wanted to do a no carbon footprint little village with shops and healing center for mainstream tourism, and a research center, university. And all of the plans are there except for this ecological infrastructure. So we put a few billionaires together a few years ago, and out of 3 of them, 2 of them are bankrupt now. So things are changing, but it also means that new opportunities and new windows are opening up. And just as I'm ready to throw in the towel, it looks like we've got some sincere interest at this level. We don't know how far we can go with it, how esoteric we can be in this approach. But if you can imagine an ecological model for the future, this is kind of what Disney did when he took the traveling circus and made it permanent. And in the old days when this was a circus, this whole New Age movement, as I always fondly say, every housewife with a pyramid on her head, channeling every saint, including Bernard, and all the fun things we were doing in the old days. We're hoping that one day this could all be pooled at one table where we could begin to research it and observe what's coming through. Because there's a lot that has come through in this first wave of movement, of you total holistic beings, that needs to be enlarged upon and taken seriously now, mainstream. And that's what we'd like to chat a little bit about here, so that most of our New Thought people and our massage therapists and our incredible masters are no longer having to wait tables to sustain themselves on the big island of Hawaii. And thankfully, in line with this new window, this new doorway that seems to be opening now, the book finally got presented to the governor on Thursday on her desk. And then we've got a couple of well-known financial people that you would know the names if I talked about them, that are coming to the table now. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. And what I'd like to share with you in the old days, when I was first peddling the book and talking to corporate tourism here, is how we went about it. And I want you all to consider setting your differences aside and maybe brainstorming these possibilities and coming together and perhaps even forming your own little management company out of it. Because as far as I'm concerned, for saving this planet and starting with the Hawaiian economy, the thinking that's in this room, old masters, tag, you're it. It begins with you. And if we can now get serious consideration on it, I'm going to have one of you share some things with me, with the group here in a moment. But the first thing I want to share is, David, I want to acknowledge you and your new newspaper.